right, we'll call this meeting to order December 7th at 7:03 p.m. Please rise for the invocation of Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, please guide us in this meeting to make the best possible outcome and decisions. Please allow all of us to have an open mind. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission statement: the city of Kirby is dedicated to delivering excellent municipal services to our community in a fiscally responsible manner. Please call roll.
Councilmember Garza.
Here.
Councilmember Hicks.
Here.
Councilmember Lozano. Here. Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Molina. Mayor Pro Tem Papadoza. Here. Mayor Carter.
Here.
We have
And Councilmember Molina did state that he would not be here tonight. Moving on to 5, citizen participation. First, we have Susan Street. When you step up, please state your address.
Good evening, council. My name is Susan Street. I live at 5222 Colon Miss. Where's my time? So I can keep track. Is my on? Sort of. Are we good? This is an email I sent to the mayor Tuesday. Her response was only received on Wednesday night. She did not call me to discuss any of the issues or address them in her response, so I will share it here. During the November 16, 23 City Council meeting, you stated that you would not read the email sent in by citizens for comment during citizens' participation, but would include them in the meeting minutes. They are not included in the meeting minutes. Mine is certainly not there. What are you trying to hide? The packet was not included in that meeting either. We cannot see copies of the change orders for Ackerman. In addition, there were 3 items partially discussed in the same meeting that were put off to the next meeting. 7C, the update on the ability to lease out the zipper machine. 7D, update on the usage of ARPA funds and the spending deadline. And 8A, change order number 5 on Ackerman. Why are these not on this agenda? I believe you're going to lose the ARPA funds if you do not spend them by September of 24. And sewer projects take time to plan and implement. Are the lawyers too busy holding up open records requests by sending mine to the AG instead of a generic contract for leasing the zipper machine? I do not remember what change order number 5 was, and I can't look in the packet because it isn't there. I realize that you have a day job, but you knew that when you ran for mayor. Did you not know that being mayor would require more time than just Thursday nights twice a month? I know that I spent hours on research and reading when I was on council. It doesn't appear that you do that sort of thing since you don't usually have information prepared when you're at the meeting. You always defer to someone else and sound uninformed. You have direct access to the city manager and can get all the documents you need to be the most informed person out there. Why aren't you? I am not the only citizen of Kirby that is disappointed in how the city is functioning. We are not moving forward. We are not getting things done. We, the people, are not being informed properly or effectively. You and your band of followers on council are not for anything, but seem to be against everything, except taking over the senior center. That should be the last item on your list. Get your priorities straight. That's the end of the email. Now, in addition, I cannot find a copy of your new amended citizens participation ordinance. It was not included in the agenda for November 16th, where nothing was attached, when you had the first reading. You did not even read the new ordinance to the public prior to voting on it. Are you allowed to do that? Wait, we have an ordinance explaining the procedure. Do any of you read the rules? You must read it in the meeting. That agenda stated first reading. Tonight, you're claiming to have a second reading. We never heard it the first time. That vote was invalid. Where's the transparency? Where's your concern for government by the people and for the people? Your job is not to dictate. The only things the mayor can do, according to the charter, are to run the meeting and put items on the agenda without approval. Everything else is the same as all other council members. The mayor does not run the city without discussion and approval of a majority of council in an open meeting. This government was built on its people having a voice. The current city council majority is limiting our ability to question or comment on our government, and that is un-American. Today is Pearl Harbor Day, and this group seems to be reenacting that horrible day by bombing our liberty. Who do you think you are? There are people out here that can't come to the meeting, that don't drive at night. You're limiting their access to address their government. They can't email it in. They can't Zoom. I don't understand the problem. The city manager has been forthcoming in answering my emails, and so is the city secretary. Why is the law firm getting all the open records requests? And why did they have to hold information that was read in an open meeting? Why did that have to go to the AG? Why is the city hiding public information? I don't have an answer for that, and I was on council. I don't know what y'all are doing up there. I don't know what your end game is, but you're not doing what's best for the city. And you need to start considering that first.
Thank you. Next, we have Roger Roman.
Roger Romans, 4511 Eneke. I'm speaking tonight to council, hoping that somebody up here will take the opportunity to place what I'm speaking about on a future agenda, preferably the very next agenda. On 20 November, I filed a complaint with the Kirby Police Department on an investigation that was conducted. On the 22nd of November, the police came to my house to deliver this card. It came unsolicited. I was not home. The lady at the house told me that the police said I had requested this card, which I did not. It has the city manager's information. I took it upon myself to call the city manager, and I inquired about the investigation, and he told me that the investigation that I submitted to the police department, well, there was a conflict of interest. So he would be conducting the investigation. On the 4th of December, this Monday, I came in and I spoke with the city manager. I inquired of him if he had a law enforcement background. He informed me he did not. The investigation I submitted was to the police department, so the police department could investigate their own. This matter now has been taken away from law enforcement, and it was placed with our city manager. I asked him if he was going to forward it to the Texas Rangers. I was told no, that was not his intention. I find this odd because previously, an investigation with a conflict of interest that was submitted by a resident to the police department, when the police chief found a conflict of interest, she forwarded it to the Texas Rangers. This was a complaint filed on a council member. Well, numerous council members. And right away, because of the conflict of interest, the investigation goes up to the Texas Rangers and it was conducted appropriately. This one, because it's investigating our own, got submitted to the city manager. If there was a conflict of interest, the chief of police should have forwarded it, like she did the previous investigation, up to the Texas Rangers. I'm asking council to put this on the agenda so that, I know you can't discuss it now, you can discuss this matter and take swift and appropriate action at the next council meeting so that a proper investigation may be conducted. Unless the investigations on our own are to remain in-house, and if there is any wrongdoing, it's never to see the light of day because we cover up our own. We don't allow actual law enforcement entities to investigate our own because we don't want any wrongdoing in our house being exposed. You as the head of the governing body, that decision falls upon you. It's your duty and your responsibility, now that you're informed on this matter, to act in a swift and appropriate manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Cory Rei.
My name is Cory Rei. I reside at 15164 Flatton Road. Is there a bit of confusion, Mayor Greider? Your policies state that after I announce my name, that you tell me that I have access to the podium, that I'm allowed to speak. That's your policies. The last time I was here, you were very strict on that with me, not with other people, but with me you were. So before I started, I wanted to wait for your permission to speak. That's why that delay was there. Do I have the floor?
As soon as you stepped up, you have the floor. Is this time started, correct?
Okay, then you need to go back and read 3010. You're not following it. Okay? So again, if you expect us to follow that, you need to follow that. Last time I was here, I mentioned that you did not mandate the person before me give his name and address before he started to speak. And you immediately jumped to, wasn't that address on an email? Why did you do that, Mayor Greider? Well, it's probably because you were aware of the criminal complaint filed against you. I didn't ask that. I asked or stated you let the man before me do that. But immediately, you made a statement, and it was a false statement. You said this email right here had Jack Miller's address on it, and it doesn't. It does not. It does not contain Bob's last name, doesn't contain an address, and you let Bob speak. But when I tried to bring that up, that you're not consistent, you lied to everybody. Then you asked me a question. And the question was, are you or are you not going to provide your address? As you see, I'm patient. I waited for you to do the right thing. I was about to answer your question with the following statement. I would like the same privilege you gave the man before me, not to be interrupted, to allow me to speak and finish, and then I'll give you my address at the end. But you didn't do that. You answered the question you asked of me, for me, and then had your chief of police throw me off the podium. If you don't see that in hindsight, it's an error, there's a problem. There is. You expect us to follow the rules. When we follow the rules, you don't. When we bring it to your attention, we expect the rules to be applied equally and fairly. You lied. You bold-faced lied. And you made it seem like, oh, wasn't that on the email? No, it's not. The city spent over $2,500, and that's my guesstimate because I don't have access to your legal costs, but over $2,500 to deny me the right to see this email. But I got it, didn't I? You think about that when you play little games, sending things like that off to your lawyers to hide things. It's public information that was already publicly available, and I was very clear I was not contesting any redactions. and you had the lawyers play games. Those games cost the city of Kirby money. Your citizens should be outraged about that. They really should be. Now, we have other items. Ms. Treat brought up the fact, I sent that to your city manager, I believe he's aware of my concerns, same ones, that you continually put things on the agenda when you don't document the information that you have. You don't put the packet out there. I'm gonna tell you right now, Mayor, I know more about your government than you do. I knew more about the day when you sat there and you stated, Mayor, you wanted to take all of the funds from the crime prevention district and shuffle it off to buy a piece of property. Those were your words. But then you cast aspersions at someone saying they're calling me a defund the police mayor. That was a defund the police type of action. So it's not giving the police a raise. So it's trying to shuffle the city of Kirby's money over to precinct 4 to do a worse quality job than what our officers could do. That's why people call you a defund the police mayor. If you don't like it, don't make votes, public votes, that imply you're defunding the police.
Thank you.
Oh,
And Caitlin, can you, the email that he's talking, can you go back and see that what he's talking about with the bomb? I'm not sure. So for citizen protection for that time frame, can you show me what he's speaking about? Thank you. All right. Next, we have Patrick White.
Patrick White, 4839. It's not working.
Once again, mic not working. Wasn't even on.
Patrick White, 4839. I'm not going to be able to for a long time. Go to sleep. I need these citizens who are voicing their concerns to shut up, because the council sitting up there doesn't care. They have certain people that live here that they listen to and that they will go to bat for. The rest of the community, they don't give a damn. So your concerns are pointless. Your worries are pointless. You got to understand, you got to be in that inner circle. You got to pat them on the back and tell them they're doing a great job, even when they're not, for your voice to mean anything. You got to have quorums without legally having quorums to get things done. You got to say, yes, Mayor, you're doing it right. You got to let council members slide with having inappropriate stuff on their Facebook page. That's easy access to our children who might want to be doing some research on our council members, which I mentioned last time, and oh, don't say his name. But 1, 2, 3, 4 of you are blind to the fact that your citizens are getting highly upset. You can have your best friend in the world who lives right by Bob's Barbecue Smokehouse pat you on the back and say, oh, you're doing so great, Jisha. Lady in charge. You're doing so great.
First warning.
For saying Jisha? You're right. Keep running this again. Let's do it. Okay, we don't have to. We don't have to say first warning for saying somebody's name. Okay, so you're doing great, lady in charge. Keep up doing what we want you to do. You know, screw the citizens. Remember when you were doing all that? Oh, I'm hitting the block to go see my citizens' concerns. We're always putting Kirby first. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're taking documents that belong to the city home and misplacing it. We're spending ridiculous amounts of money on a law firm that is gonna put y'all in turmoil on a weekly, almost daily basis. But because we are so afraid of people knowing the truth behind the stuff that's going on, we're gonna have our little group that votes the same way. If I tap my hand like that, that means vote yes. If I do it 3 times, it means no. That's what we're doing. Or we're having our forms, like I said, illegally, to make up our minds on the vote before we even get here. Let's be real about it. We want to cut citizens off. You can only talk the first 5 minutes of the meeting, after that you can't speak. You know the good thing about that for y'all who already got your mind made up? You don't have to hear the concern at the point when you're about to discuss the item. It's already out of your mind, gone, flushed down the toilet.
Can you
I
pause
know
for a
how
minute?
to vote.
I think your mic stopped, your mic is off.
It did stop.
Can you pause it,
Thank you, ma'am. Well, you're using that. So. I got my first one. Thank you. Okay, so, before we got here, this won't take long, it'll be a real quick thing. Before we got here, Mr. Cory Rei sent an email to everybody. And that means, I believe, city manager, police chief, and all council and mayor, regarding a certain council member and something I just mentioned. And as of 15 seconds ago, it is still up for view for anybody to see. I hope we get this figured out. I hope we learn how to work together and put our personal feelings out of politics and do what's right for the city. And let's actually put Kirby first instead of each other, and let's do it right.
Thank you.
First warning. Call me.
I'm not sure if I received that email, so if y'all know what he's talking about, can you report that to me, please? Ms. Caitlin or city manager? Thank you. Next we have Jack Miller.
Testing. All right, my name is Jack Miller. And my address is 135 Headway. I know I wrote 4839 Dick Gordon on the sign-up sheet, but I just moved to 135 Headway.
Sir, your address is 4839 Dick Gordon.
No, it's 135 Headway now. That's the address I'm
First
giving.
warning.
What am I warning? I'm sorry. What am I being warning for? So I don't commit that crime again. I just want to make sure that I
Your
don't.
time is-
What did I do? I didn't do nothing. Okay, anyway, my address is 135 Headwood. The email that we're referring to, this mystery email, I've been down this road before with cities. This is my game. You're not in charge. You think you're in charge. You were elected to be in charge of the city, but you're not. When you engage a tyranny, you're no longer in charge. I am. And when I say me, I'm not talking about Jack Miller. I'm talking about the people I represent, and I represent the people. We the people. You're for the people. You're by the people. You forget that. I'm here to remind you. This email from Bob was praising you guys. That person definitely doesn't live in my address. You're deserving of no praise. And if a person lived in my address that wrote that email, I'd be in jail right now. But what would that do? But what happened was, this is what happened, in case you all don't know. An email was written praising the mayor by Bob. Now the mayor ordered no emails be written or read if it didn't contain an address, and several were not read because it didn't contain an address. Well, Bob's did not contain an address. See, our cameras are up here, and they catch everything, including everything on that secretary's desk. Everything. We can see it all. We know what happened. Mr. White, my producer, called out, what's the address? He got bored, almost kicked out of here for asking that question. There was not an address on the email. Our cameras caught everything that occurred that night. Mayor says, 4839 Dick Gordon, that's all the other addresses are being used, and that address is my address. And it was assigned to Bob's email by the mayor. City secretary can't remember when it was written down. There's a document that we got that shows 4839 Dick Gordon next to Bob's name that the city secretary may or may not have written. We know who wrote it. We know when it was written down on that piece of paper. She'll remember. I was already upset because Yahoos were using my address left and right. Well, my address is public information. The city of Kirby put it out 2 days after you raided my house in 2018. Plus, it's public. I really don't care. None of you have any business ever stating my address out of your mouths. There's no reason for it. This is $2,000 in tens. I've collected about 2,600 so far. $2,600 so far. Because, oh, no emails and no Zoom? Touche. I've done this before. This is what I do for a living. Why can't you get that? I wouldn't challenge the city manager on his job. This is my job. I'll be here long after you're gone, in fact, from the city council. Every meeting, there will be a $250 cash prize given out from a random drawing for anybody that comes up here and talks about community interests for 5 whole minutes. And this is getting publicized all over. You think I can't load this place up with people? Oh yeah, I can. For a chance to win $250 cash? Absolutely. And I haven't even asked for this. Wait till I start asking for money. We're not going away. You have to return. We had a meeting with the city manager and I turned off my activism. Don't take my kindness for a weakness. I turned it off in consideration that something might be done. All I'm asking is to return back to allowing citizens the way they were allowed to speak to you guys prior to us having a problem. Prior to y'all having a problem with me. Put me aside. I'll put you aside. Let your citizens speak. Let it go back to the way it was. Then I can take this money and I can get it to some other worthwhile cause. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have, we're moving on to 6A, consideration of and action on minutes, regular minutes, November 9th, 2023.
Okay, guys, let's recap here. Okay, guys, just to let you guys know what's going on to my viewers. About the last meeting, there was an email. If you all heard the first lady that was speaking, and just as soon as she was finished, you heard the mayor. I don't know if y'all heard it or not. You heard her say, "Well, that's the mail that we were just talking about." Okay, that's over almost 2 weeks, and she was just getting to it. And as you heard from the other viewers about another emails, again, almost 2 weeks ago, and the mayor doesn't have a clue. And yes, they are using another person's address, multiple people. So, yeah, guys, this is Kirby, Texas. I mean, if you all don't like what you see here, even though you're not a resident of Kirby, you still have the right to address the problem. So, yeah, good night, all. Remember, sharing is caring.
2 years, good thing. We don't have to wait for the rest of the